evening, gentlemen.
Good
Good evening, Ben.
evening.
How are we both?
Not well.
Tired and disillusioned.
So basically, we're all miserable as sin.
Pretty much.
The perfect time for episode 11 of Dismal Disney!
Yay!
Yay!
Whew.
So, there's not going to be a lot of Disney news in this show tonight. We're mostly talking about your experiences, aren't we, Ollie?
This is true. Yes.
We're not going to go over it quickly. We're going to cover everything that's happened to you over the last couple of weeks because, as the one person that watches this show knows, we haven't been here for a couple of weeks, have we?
Indeed, they've missed us greatly, and they are happy that we're back.
Well, I'm happy that we're back because I'm happy to see you after what for you must have been a really, really frightening couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was traumatic to say the least. If I have to leave at any point, then do excuse me.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling amazing. I've essentially been paralyzed for 2 weeks. So yeah, I'm just kind of like about this time of the evening, my body starts to come around and I can move again. But
Well,
I'm kind of still in.
You know it's serious when he's on the water.
Yeah, literally. There's no rum, there's no beer. It's just water.
So I guess let's start from the top because this all began with a mouse, a trip to Disneyland Paris, didn't it?
Indeed, yeah. So I mean, I've had ME and chronic fatigue since March. Got diagnosed in July, but it was generally quite manageable. I mean, I would struggle to get through the day at work, and I would be exhausted at the end of every day, and I'd have to basically not do anything every evening and every weekend. I basically spend my evenings and weekends lying down, so I had enough energy to work. But I was never at a point where I was paralyzed.
So you attribute this illness as an adverse reaction to the thing, don't you?
I do attribute it to the thing. Yeah, I stupidly got the thing because I wanted to go to Walt Disney World. I should be there right now. My flight left yesterday. Because of the thing, I have not able to go to Disney World like I'd planned, which is what I got the thing for. So yes, it's an upsetting state of affairs to say the least.
So take us through it. You had a trip, well, a series of trips booked for end of September, beginning of October, Disneyland Paris, then Walt Disney World. And you did sort of go to Disneyland Paris, didn't you?
I did. I got there, stayed at Santa Fe, I got there Monday, like midday, left Friday at midday, and I spent approximately 1.5 days in the park and the rest of the time in bed. So the trip wiped me out. I got there on the Monday midday. I had to spend the rest of the day in bed because I was exhausted. People might think, oh, you have ME, you should know that the traveling wouldn't tire you out. This is my first experience of it. I've never, this is my first, I've only had it since March. So I'm kind of, everything I do is a discovery. This is the first holiday that I did whilst having it. So I wasn't expecting to feel like that.
No.
So yeah.
No, I mean, take it from somebody who is disabled. You have to make adjustments. You have to make alterations. If you want to have the fullest experience out of your holiday, you need to be making sure that you have things in place, such as, for me, it's a mobility scooter. It's an absolute life saver. But so take us through. You flew in from
Bristol to Paris. Got into, I had to get up like 3 or 4 to have no sleep, so that screwed me up straight away. Long lines at the airport knackered me out. Plane journey was fine. Then in a taxi on the way from the airport to Disneyland, started to feel pretty ropey.
Yeah.
And then just
oh wow, you got a taxi.
Yeah, I always go. Just a plug for EasyGoShuttle.com. They're the best taxis from CDG to the parks. I use them every time. They're great guys. They're really nice. So yeah, I always go taxi, especially when there's a few people, because it spreads the cost out, and it generally works out as cheaper than the bus anyway, or the train. Well, maybe not the train, but the bus is quite expensive.
Well, the TGV from Charles de Gaulle to Disneyland is about €29 each way.
Yeah, I mean, I think I paid like $42.50 for both ways, including tips. So it's not too bad. Yeah. I mean, they meet you at baggage claim. They take your luggage for you. you're at your hotel within 45 minutes. You don't have to run the length of the train station, the airport to get to the train station and so on. So yeah, it's really I would advise anyone to get a taxi. It's it's not much more expensive and a lot easier these days.
Okay. So
yeah,
you arrive at Santa Fe.
yeah.
And did you go into the parks on Monday?
No, my family went into the park, and I stayed in the hotel. I had to wait a bit until I got my room was ready, so I hung out in Starbucks for a bit. Then I got a lovely guy called Vitali from reception to help me to my room. Who I did a cast compliment for on Twitter, and he got given that, which is pretty cool.
Good.
And then I spent the rest of the day in bed. I made it to dinner in the evening. We had the buffet at Santa Fe is actually really nice.
Was it good?
Yeah, I think they've upped their game. I remember going to Cheyenne about 10 years ago, and there was a marked difference between the quality of the food there and, say, Sequoia or New York.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think the food across the board is pretty similar. Like the quality at Santa Fe and Cheyenne has really gone up.
Well, I would say that because I was actually looking at the cost of the buffets at the hotels, and apart from your Cape Cods and things like that, they're all the same price now across the board. So
yeah.
I would imagine, as you say, they've upped the quality to be in line, which is good because Sequoia Lodge is 3-star, and now I know Cheyenne is 3-star. I'm not sure Santa Fe is. I think that's still a 2-star hotel.
Yeah, I think you're right. I would say that I haven't been to Cheyenne for a long time, but I would still say that Sequoia is a lot better, just through the facilities and the theming, really. So it's worth paying. I'm not sure if it's a bit more. It's probably more expensive than the Cheyenne still.
Yeah, probably it's not too much more expensive. I know that these days, but because we're going this weekend and Lisa's going as well, our friend Lisa,
Awesome.
and she's staying in the Sequoia Lodge, and she didn't pay much more than what we paid for Cheyenne, which is
Sequoia is my favorite hotel out of the whole lot. So yeah, I would always recommend staying there if you can. It's a little bit better than budget, but obviously it's not as expensive as the rest.
Yeah, and it's quite a bit closer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the side of Lake Disney there.
Exactly. And you can just walk through the village every morning. It's nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to the buffet. I went to a Monday evening in Santa Fe, which is like Mexican themed. So you got your Mexican food, but there's everything else there as well.
Yeah.
And then went into Disneyland Park on Tuesday morning. Got my access card from City Hall.
Your first time as a fellow cripple.
Indeed, yes. So had my disabled credentials with me.
John likes going to Disney with a cripple, don't you, John?
Well, it's the only way to travel.
Yeah, I mean, like, I wouldn't have got it if I didn't need it, and I certainly needed it. So yeah, but it's very helpful. We'll come on to Web Adventure in a minute, but Disneyland Park on the Tuesday was fine. I didn't feel that bad at all. I had to sit down quite a lot to rest, obviously. Got onto the rides really quickly with the disabled pass.
That's handy, that is.
Yeah, it's really good. Did Autopia again, Benn, like we did last time, which I had never been on before, 2020.
I took you on it, didn't I?
Yeah, you took me on it, and it was a revelation. I loved it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just really, really slow go-karting, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it's surprisingly fun for what it is.
It's like I'm going to go on it on Sunday. I'm going to go on it on Sunday, despite the fact I just spent the morning driving a big boy car to the resort.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go on Autopia. I'm going to drive one of them goddamn cars because it's fun.
Yeah. So what I did Pirates. Like using the disabled entrances for the first time and everything was really quite strange, but everyone was really friendly, really helpful.
Yeah.
Like I did Peter Pan first actually, because obviously that's always the biggest queue in the whole resort usually. So
you're like,
Peter Pan.
you're like, I actually get to go on it.
Yeah.
I'm going on that ride.
Big Thunder was amazing. No smoke though. No smoke on the finale.
They need to fix that.
I mean, I was working quite regularly last time we went. I was working in 2020.
Yeah, but it breaks and then they don't bother fixing it because that's Disneyland Paris. They cheap out on maintenance.
Exactly, they do. But yeah, Big Thunder was awesome. Obviously, all the Halloween stuff was up in Frontierland, Coco stuff in Puente del Oro. So yeah, it was really good day.
Good, fantastic. And you were with you were with your family, weren't you?
Yeah, I was with my family. There was 10 of us all together.
Wow, 10 of you.
Yeah, ranging in ages from 1 to 80.
So were there a few access cards between you then?
There was only one. It was just me.
So when you became out of action, I bet people were cursing.
They were slightly upset.
Yeah.
They were slightly upset. But yeah, no, it's when you go on your own, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. But when you're with a big group, you've kind of got like, you have to kind of bow to the consensus, which is fine because that's what you're there for. You're there for a family holiday, so you just go with the flow a bit more. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't think I could do a family holiday with 10 members.
Well, technically, I only had to do it for a day and a half because I was in bed the rest of the time.
Yes, you were.
So yeah, we went into the buffet on Santa Fe on Tuesday night again, which was very nice, and then Wednesday up early for opening on Walt Disney Studios.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is that because you, and I'm guessing the people you were with, wanted to see the new Avengers campus?
Exactly. So everyone wanted to see Avengers campus.
I want to hear your, and I think John that does as well. I want to hear your genuine thoughts on this Avengers campus.
Okay, so I'll quickly go over. I mean, considering I left the park about 1 due to medical reasons. I spent the first few hours I did Crush first, which was completely dark and it's got really bad. They've really ruined that ride. We need to put the lights back on we need to put the blue lights back on with the bubbles. But yeah, it's completely pitch black in there, so it's pointless.
Okay.
Then did Ratatouille was closed. Did Cars Road Trip, which was pointless.
Oh, they call that a ride.
Yeah. It's basically just Catastrophe Canyon now.
Yeah, it's Catastrophe Canyon with some eyes drawn on the truck. That's
exactly
really what it is.
Yeah.
I think we're boring John to death.
Yeah, I know he is going to be asleep. And then what did I do after that? I can't remember. Did Parachute Drop, got some footage of the new expansion area. So the lake is dug.
Yeah.
And they've marked out the land for Frozen Land. So yeah, that's all going ahead.
It's sort of going ahead though, isn't it? Because we don't have we don't have an actual theme for Star Wars yet.
No idea what's happening there.
They've literally got this concept art, John, right? It's on the fences. You probably saw it when we were there. And it shows you a Star Wars land that they're building, and there's pictures of X-Wings, and there's the mountains and stuff. And they've just gone, yeah, not building that no more. It's just gone, not doing that. Because
they're still up, though. The pictures are still up.
Are they still up with Star Wars on them?
Yeah.
Bravo.
I know.
Bravo.
Because the average guest doesn't know that it's cancelled, does they? It's only like fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll just be guests coming back in like 5 years' time thinking, where's Star Wars Land? I saw it on that poster 5 years ago.
Yeah, where
we didn't build it, sorry.
No, you're getting a knockoff Avatar Land instead.
Yeah. Oh god, I hope not. I'd rather have Lion King.
They're gonna go with Avatar. I'm almost certain of it because this new. Would you like to go to Avatar Land in Paris, John?
If it's good, yeah.
Interesting. I mean, it'll have one ride. It'll have one ride, 2 restaurants, and a shop.
Yeah. And the one ride
that doesn't sound good.
The one ride will be Flight of Passage, so it will be pretty cool. It'll be a flying theatre, and it'll be well done, well designed, well themed. But they won't put the boat ride in. That won't be in the Na'vi River Journey. They won't. No. They won't shell out for it. They will cheap out, and it will be Flight of Passage. I'm almost certain that's what they'll go with because it's a clone. It's easier to do. There's no R&D involved.
The films are coming out.
Yeah. So we're gonna see a rehash of Avatar because we've got Avatar 2 coming out this Christmas. You excited, guys?
No, not at all.
Do you remember the first?
Never watched the first one. Never will watch the first one.
Have you seen Pocahontas?
Yes.
Right. Well, it's just that in space with blue people.
Okay, fine, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's quite well done, though.
Oh, it looks.
I quite enjoyed it. It's quite entertaining.
It's nice to look at.
Yeah, I mean it's a bit OTT on the ecological message, but it's all right.
It's just it's a 3 hour long version of Pocahontas talking about climate change.
Is it 3 hours?
Well, it's about 2.5, 2 hours 45 minutes. Yeah,
It's a visual treat.
it's a visual treat. You're not wrong, John. It's currently back in the cinemas at the moment, I believe.
Yeah, well that'll be to take advantage of the fact that the new one's coming out.
Yeah,
They took it off Disney Plus. They took it off Disney Plus while it's in the cinema.
Oh, I remember when they released Disney Plus. They were like, once it goes on, it never comes off.
Yeah. It's complete bollocks.
That was a lie.
Well,
Speaking of taking things off Disney Plus, today in the US, not in the UK, because the UK hate us and don't like actual Disney fans. But in the US, they put on the classic 50s Zorro series on Disney Plus today for the first time, which is huge for Disney fans. Everyone's screaming about it. Then literally just before we came on, somewhat like the person I follow for Disney Plus news, Deja Vu on Twitter, announced that they'd actually, whilst they put on the new Zorro series, they'd removed the Mickey Mouse Club from the 50s on the same day for no reason whatsoever.
Once again, I seem to recall when they first launched this app, they said, once we put something on, it will never come off.
Exactly.
They're just bullshitting us, aren't they?
Yeah, it's absolute bollocks, which is why I have hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays, because you can never trust streaming. It's never
if
going to be
anybody
there forever.
hasn't seen Olly's Disney Room, there is a full tour available on the YouTube channel right now. Go and check it out.
There is. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so Avengers Campus. It's more aesthetically pleasing than I thought it was going to be. There is a lot of concrete, but the main drawback about it is the main road into it is so small. It's really thin, and with the amount of people that are in there, it's just uncomfortable. It's unpleasant to be in there. I've never seen an area of Disneyland Paris busier ever.
Okay.
So I mean, I know they do close it when it gets too busy, but they're not closing it quickly enough, in my opinion. Okay. It was absolutely rammed. The buildings are too tall for that size of walkway, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel really claustrophobic. When you get down to the end, it's a bit more open, where Blockbuster Cafe is, and obviously Rock and Roller Coaster.
/ Flight Force.
Indeed. But yeah, so I mean, it's okay. I think it's impressive, but it's just too cramped and too busy.
Yeah. Well, do you think that I will enjoy it?
I think you will enjoy it. I think you're going on a Sunday, so it's probably rammed, so you might not enjoy it for that reason.
Well, I'm going Sunday to Wednesday.
Yeah, well, I would not go to studios on Sunday. I would just do Disneyland Park on Sunday. Okay. Go to studios on Monday because it'll be too busy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And plus, I've got 2 children and a pensioner with me.
Yeah.
So I have to, and also there's myself in my scooter and stuff like that. So I've got to be smart about what I do. How was the new Spider-Man ride then?
So this is what finished me off. So I entered the disabled entrance for Spider-Man Web Adventure. Mm-hmm. The disabled queue is really long. All it takes you to is the welcoming room, the video room where you find out about the ride, and then you basically join the real queue. And so there's no real disabled entrance. Like most rides, disabled entrance, you just literally walk straight onto the ride, don't you, within 10 feet.
Yeah. This
is 100 meters, maybe more, 200 meters in a switchback.
That's not good.
There's nowhere to sit down. And yeah, it wiped me out. The ride is really physical. The ride is very impressive. The ride is exciting. It's very impressive. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it wiped me out. And I ended up on the floor of the Blockbuster Cafe, unresponsive. And they had to wheel me to the medical center. So yeah, I've been paralyzed for 2 weeks after going on Spider-Man Web Adventure, which is no reflection on the ride or the Walt Disney Company, but they could make the disabled access a lot easier. I think it would happen to me eventually anyway.
I mean, that's very concerning though.
Yeah.
I will do the queue in my mobility scooter. That's just...
Yeah, you'll have to.
I will have no choice. If I'm going to do the ride, I will have to do it on my... And I've also heard similar things for Flight Force, the accessible entrance also takes you up through the main entrance. I understand.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
which
didn't get a chance to go on it because I basically didn't go back into the parks after that time, and so yeah, until I flew home on Friday. So from Wednesday afternoon till Friday, I was basically in my bed.
man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked. It really sucked. But I think it was, I maybe could have forced myself to go out, but it would have just happened again, and so it wouldn't have been worth it. I didn't want to ruin my family's holiday after that. So
And they were. I'm hoping they were helpful to you as well whilst you were.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So were
100%.
you even able to go for meals, or was that it?
I went for breakfast on the Thursday and the Friday, but
Right.
that was it. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, no, it was horrific. Like, yeah, it's paralyzed me. So since I got back, I've been to A&E twice in an ambulance for being unresponsive. And I've basically been led in bed for 2 weeks. Yeah, I can just about get to the toilet. And yeah, have maybe like about this time of the evening, I can usually have a shower because my body comes back to work again. But yeah, it's been and obviously I was supposed to be going to Disney World yesterday. It's all cancelled. So yeah, it's been traumatic.
Yeah, I can wholeheartedly understand that. Fuck you, Pfizer. I'm sorry, but you know.
If that one gets banned, then yeah, feel free to say that.
Well, but I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, you look at what you're going through. Look at the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
And it was wholly unnecessary. It was
completely unnecessary.
This has happened to you because of something, because of an outside force, because of someone telling you that if you don't get this treatment, get this medication, then you are not allowed to go and see your sister, essentially, who lives in the United States. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
And
so
now this is your life.
Yep. I'm, going to be probably, I don't think I'll be bedbound forever. I think I'll probably slowly come out of that. But whether I can go back to work again is another matter. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, interesting's one way of putting it. Take it from somebody who is in your situation. I smile, I laugh, I get through every single day. The medication behind the scenes is insane. The amount that I take just to.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you take medication before.
But life does not get easier. You just have to paint on a smile and push on through. And I'm a realist, and I don't want to turn around to you and say, oh, it's all going to magically get better one day, because it may not. Right? No. So you've got to learn to adapt, and you've got to learn to cope. And it's like I said to you, because you were still considering going to Walt Disney World, weren't you? And I said to you, you have to have a mobility scooter. You cannot do this without it. It's all about adaptation at this point, because it's entirely your call now.
Yeah.
As to how much of a life you lead.
I mean, I'm going to have to do it at one point, because there's no way I can never do it. But I'm going to have to basically do a park day, a day off, a park day, a day off. Have a mobility scooter. I'm going to have to go when it's like 20 degrees, so maybe January to like a March time. I probably wouldn't have lasted, even if I hadn't have had this collapse in Paris. I probably wouldn't have lasted in Florida anyway, because it's 30 degrees over there right now.
Well, actually, I will actually say to you, the resorts at Walt Disney World mostly have pools, right?
Yeah.
And one thing that saves me is water. Baths, swimming pools, they can elongate my. They can make me have a longer day, and they help me get on through. And I know we're sort of discussing ways to cope right now, but I think this is relevant. I think it's relevant because this is an entirely new situation for you, and this is also talking to how disabled guests at these resorts may be able to cope, get through, push on a bit further. I mean, John, you were with me, and you saw me popping pills like no tomorrow. But I do like a good bit of medication, don't I?
Yeah.
But the point is,
and coffee and Red Bull and Coke.
Yeah, you've got to fill your body with painkillers and stimulants.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't drink caffeine because it saps my energy quicker. But basically, what I have to do is I have to eat constantly.
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that I constantly have food with me. So I'm basically eating 3 meals a day and then just snacking constantly between them. So like nuts and fruit and stuff. So yeah, it's a learning curve.
It is indeed. It is indeed. I am once again genuinely sorry that you have gone through this. You have had a trip like this, and there's nothing I can do to help it. But it is a learning curve.
Yeah, and you definitely, you've already given me tons of advice for the future, and I'm sure you'll be able to help me even more when I get to that point.
Well, I tell you what, when this show starts making some when this channel starts making some little bit of ad revenue, we'll all go over together.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
When this, if this channel can make some ad revenue, we'll use that ad revenue to go over together, and we'll make a fucking guide on how to do it as two cripples and a pensioner.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Maybe we should change our name to that.
I like that. Mr. Spock up there is like, what? What?
That's the logical captain.
One thing I will say about the medical team at Disneyland Paris are very helpful. They're very friendly. They checked me out. They gave me all kinds of tests and made sure I was okay physically. And it was just the ME that I was having a problem with.
Yeah.
But they had no concept of chronic fatigue or ME whatsoever. Like literally, like when I came round, it took me like an hour to come round, and then 3 hours to be able to stand up in the medical center.
Ooh.
And then they said, "Oh, don't you want to go back in the park now?" I'm like, "I can't even fucking stand up. You expect me to go back into the park?" Like they had no concept of chronic fatigue or ME whatsoever. Which for like, it was quite hilarious, really.
So then then you got a wheelchair, didn't you? Tell us about the wheelchair.
So I had to hire a wheelchair it was €250, but you get €200 back is a deposit. And yeah, it was just, it's not easy having to make someone push you around. So I did that as little as possible. Well, because it's not.
Well, no, but also at the same time, you've just had a medical emergency.
Yeah.
You're not able to walk. €250, please.
Yeah. They wouldn't. They had no way of getting me back to my room. They literally made us hire a wheelchair for €250 and get pushed back. Yeah, like so. Yeah, I mean, in some ways they were friendly and couldn't do enough, but then when it came down to it, they had no real, solutions for incapacitated people. So if you're physically, if you're a large person like me, and you're physically incapacitated, they have no way to, move you around. Although they moved me from Blockbuster Cafe to the medical center on a stretcher, so I don't know why they couldn't have done that back to my room. But
or they could have just taken you back in a wheelchair and then taken the wheelchair back.
Yeah.
Rather than said, give us €250 so that you can leave this place.
Yeah. Or do you want to go back to the park and then end up back here again in 20 minutes? Yeah.
I'm out of words.
Yeah. So I mean, they never actually, they never said, "Do you want to go to hospital?" And I probably would have. I don't know. I probably would have said yes if they asked me, because at that time I didn't know what was wrong with me. I thought I was having a heart attack and I was possibly, in need of emergency care. It turns out it was just an extreme ME symptom, which I haven't experienced before, and so I've had it a few times since, and now I know what I'm dealing with. But at the time, yeah, if you've got somebody unconscious in front of you, you would generally take them to hospital. But they took me to the medical center, and just let me find my own way back to the hotel. So, not an ideal situation.
John? I've got no words here.
Je ne sais quoi.
I have no words.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Et tout?
I mean, that's basically what they were like. Yeah, it's kind of like what they,
C'est bon.
C'est bon. I like that. C'est bon. How was it? That's another question I had in the medical center. How was their grasp on English?
It was okay. You would have thought with somebody with like a resort of that size, with that many international guests, they would have somebody somebody that could speak English in the medical center, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but their international guests aren't as international as you think in Paris, are they?
Well, no, but I mean,
like over 50% of their guests are French.
True, but then the next biggest margin is the UK. So you'd have thought they'd have at least one person that could speak English. Like they muddled through. They found somebody. I think they brought someone in who could speak English relatively well to translate for me. But yeah, I mean, you would have thought they would have an English person working in there pretty much all the time. But,
yeah, no, that would make sense.
Yeah.
But remember, this is the same people who just charged you €250 to be able to leave the medical centre.
Yeah, exactly. To get back to my hotel room. And like, considering that most of the other nationalities after the UK being in size, like they all generally all speak English as well. So it wouldn't be that much to ask to have an English person or an English speaker in the.
To be fair, English is the kind of universal language of Europe.
Exactly. Yeah.
No.
So
I'm in shock. I'm in shock.
Yeah. It's France. Why the fuck would you be in shock?
Why would I be in shock? Because of all the work that me and Lisa did with them to try and stop things like this happening. That's why I'm in shock.
Yeah, but right. So the last 2.5 years, they've not had any input, right? And they're cutting back because they've not had any income.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the first to go? Customer service.
Customer service. I mean, the shopping service, when I last went out there, so they used to do a shopping service where you would, if you purchased anything before 3 p.m, it would go back to your hotel.
Yeah.
That didn't seem to be anywhere last time I went. It's little things like that, like you say, like customer service. I don't need that. Fuck that off. But I would argue that this goes a bit beyond customer service.
Yeah, this is like you think this would be a legal responsibility, wouldn't you? Like a legal requirement.
Well, as long as I guess, did they give you any medication?
Yes, they gave me a muscle relaxer. They gave me a muscle relaxer.
Did they charge you for it?
They did not charge me for it. No.
Ketamine. That's probably why you spent the rest of the week in bed. They probably give you a dose of ketamine.
Yeah.
We fell sort this English bastard out. We'll put them out for the rest of the week.
We have just dosed you up with the ketamine. Would you like to go back to the park?
You will have a good time. Oui.
Yeah.
You see, hello. We laugh. Oui.
Oui, non. Qu'est-ce que tu?
No.
Et tout.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, I got through Charles de Gaulle in a wheelchair, which was quite good. And then
did Charles de Gaulle charge you for the wheelchair?
No, they were very helpful.
So what you're telling me is the airport could wheel you around in a wheelchair for free?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the airport's got a vested interest though, because the airport wants you out. They want you out the airport quickly without holding up other people.
Yeah.
Whereas the park doesn't want you out the park; it wants you to stay in the park.
Yeah,
Evidenced by the fact that the medical services' first question was, "You wish to go back to the park?"
Yeah.
Always be upselling.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my word.
Yeah, Charles de Gaulle were really helpful. I walked straight in and walked up to the accessibility area, and they were couldn't do enough for me.
Well, it could have been worse. Imagine it's happened in America. You'd ended up in hospital. You'd have been like you'd have been held hostage until you paid the hospital bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like 10 grand in debt now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Crying.
But yeah, it's probably good that I didn't go to Florida.
Well, maybe.
I mean, at this time anyway, before I'd figured out what I needed to, help me get through it, really.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you manage to recover any of your outlay?
For Florida? Oh, yeah, I've got it all in credit. It's all in credit, so we can use it all again for next time.
Right, that's good.
So you got flight credit, you got hotel credit.
Credit, park ticket credit, yeah.
Well, like John said, at least you got that, right? Because... we got in the chat here from Dark Spy, says, "This all sounds morally questionable to me. Hope you feel better soon."
Oh, thanks very much. That's kind. But yeah, I mean, extremely morally questionable.
So you have to bear in mind how medical systems work in these countries, and they don't work like the NHS.
Right.
You don't get freebies generally, right? I mean, you want to go and see the doctor in France. You make an appointment, and you actually get to go and see the doctor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to pay €25 to see the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't matter whether you have insurance or not, or you're part of the French medical system or not. You pay your €25 up front, and then you claim it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And you pay for your prescriptions, but you get some of the money back if you're part of the French medical system. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a kind of hybrid system, but it's nothing like the NHS. I mean, the NHS is just bizarre. I don't know how it can function as an actual. Well, it can't.
With £1
That's the
billion
problem.
every 3 days, John.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the problem. We spend so much money on it, and yet we complain about the service because it can't function because it's given too much away, especially in Scotland. You don't even pay for prescriptions in Scotland.
Well,
Yeah,
so
It's crazy.
so how has your experience with the NHS been since you got back, Ollie?
Well, I spent approximately 12 hours sat in an ambulance outside A&E
What?
over 2 days. Over 2 days. That's over 2 days. So on the Saturday when I got back, I got back on the Friday. On the Saturday, I had another collapse and I became unresponsive again. And so I went to hospital in an ambulance, and I sat outside A&E in an ambulance for 6 hours, and then did the same again on the Monday as well. So, yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
The NHS just isn't working.
No, the NHS is fucked. The NHS is totally fucked. The people that work in it are amazing and deserve to be paid more, but the system is completely
Do you
screwed
want to
up.
know the entire irony of this situation?
What's that?
People that work in the NHS that shot that shit in your arm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. So yeah,
I'm sorry to sound so direct here, but this wasn't ever told to you that this could happen to you. I think you should be suing somebody.
I mean, I have looked at those avenues, and a solicitor wouldn't take my case. There's a compensation package from the government, isn't there?
You need to apply to it.
Yeah,
Because this could affect you, but this could affect you for the rest of your life.
But then you can only get 120 grand, can't you? The 120 grand is the maximum they're giving people.
Yeah, but it's better than a poke in the eye with a sharp
exactly.
stick.
True. Yeah.
Well, exactly.
I mean, I think you only get that if someone dies. Like the lady whose husband died got 120 grand.
Well, you're entitled. You've got to be entitled to something because this is complete.
Even if you only get 20 grand, it's still better than the poke in the eye with a sharp stick.
Exactly right, and I can't believe we're sitting here on a show about Disney talking about this, but I think it's completely relevant because with this is what you've gone through to be able to go to Disney.
And the disturbing thing is, he went through this to get to Disney and couldn't get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how many other people have done the same thing? Because you still can't enter
in the US
Disney World. I.e., you've got to enter the US to get to it, and you can't enter it without going through a process.
Yeah. You've got to have 2 jabs to get into the US still.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my causation is slightly different because my chronic fatigue was triggered by an infection in a tooth. So it wasn't directly after the jabs, but I believe that the jabs. We know that the jabs lower immunity and fuck with your immune system.
You were not well. I remember you were not well, and at the end of the day, I'm just so disappointed in the human race right now for allowing this to happen to people like you, for allowing this to happen to, I don't know. I know that this really is a dismal episode, but at the end of the day,
yeah, it really is.
You didn't have an option, and people will turn around and say, well, you could have said no, but your sister's over there. Yeah. How are you meant to see your sister?
Yeah.
You were coerced. I'm so.
And there's plenty of people like. I mean, I have a family reason for doing it, and I also have. I wanted to go on a specific holiday to a specific place, but but there's also people who just did it just to be able to go on any holiday. You know, like they didn't have
Well,
like
you
a dream
mean
holiday. They didn't have it.
the vast majority of people did that?
Yeah, did it just to go on holiday generally. They didn't have a specific thing in mind. They just thought, I need to go on holiday, so I'll get it. And then there's a percentage of us which got screwed over.
Wow, this really has been a dark episode. I'm going to move it on to something a bit more lighthearted.
Go for it, Ben.
So last week, She-Hulk went to therapy.
Yeah. Slightly less depressing, but not much.
But that was the episode. So we like
Yeah.
to talk about the latest episodes of She-Hulk, and in this, the latest
Have I-
episode.
Have I seen that episode when she went to therapy?
I don't know. Have you?
I thought you stopped after episode
No,
4.
I think I stopped after the wedding.
Ah, yeah. So we're one on from the wedding. So
I saw the wedding, but
in the latest episode of the worst Disney Marvel TV show to have been released to date, She-Hulk, essentially, I'll give you the entire plot line right now. Emil Blonsky, the Abomination's tag, is playing up. His parole officer asks She-Hulk to go with him to Emil Blonsky's ranch to see if he is turning into the Abomination again. Turns out he really is just playing up. Two people end up having a fight. One's like a bull man, and one Wamble, and one's a matador. They break Jen Walters' car, and so, whilst she's waiting for the tow truck guy, she goes to therapy. That's it. That's the episode.
Yeah.
so
Guys, I have to leave. I'm sorry, I have to leave. I'm not feeling great. You guys carry on talking about She-Hulk. I will catch up with you later. Apologies.
Okay. You jump off.
So, have you listened to or have heard the head writer for the She-Hulk series?
No.
You need to. She is an abomination,
right. Right.
because she said something, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she said something along the lines of, and I'm not putting egg on it. She said something along the lines of, generally in a Marvel superhero film, too much happens. There's too much suspense. People save the day. There's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're bringing this down to earth, and we're making it more normal and mundane.
Oh Christ.
And she's fucking achieved it, because it's awful.
Well, I'll say
Even
this.
the wedding was awful.
I said this before, and I'll say it again. This is the reshot, improved version of She-Hulk.
Yeah, I know.
So
Can you imagine how bad it must have been?
I want to see that original series. I want to see what that first stab at it looked like.
I would love to see the original pilot for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I want to see that as well. I do.
Somebody must have that. If you're out there, you know who you are.
Yeah.
It's your duty to release it to us.
It is. It is your duty.
Your duty.
Your duty. Dark Spy says perhaps they can hire Chris Chibnall. I hear he's got some time coming free.
Who's Chris Chibnall?
The idiot that's been show running Doctor Who since Doctor Who became a woman.
Doctor Who as a woman actually worked out all right. She wasn't that bad. She was a bit manic, a bit like a female version of you. Always running about. She's probably coked up or something like that. Not that you're ever coked up as a part. Well, you are, but not with. Well, with coke, but not that kind of coke.
You're digging a much deeper grave than necessary here, John.
Yeah, I know. Shut up, John.
Yeah. On that note, shall we wrap this one up?
Yeah, go on then.
If you are one of our subscribers over at Chasing Descent and over on our Chasing Descent Patreon, then in about 10
Come
to
and see us
15
there.
minutes time, come
It's
see
much.
us. Well, come and see us at the after party.
Yeah, but if you want something a bit more uplifting and fun, come over to Chasing Descent. It's a bit funnier than the Dismal Disney stuff.
Well, it's a bit funnier than this episode, that's for bloody sure. I mean, this episode has been a bloody hoot, hasn't it?
It's been an abomination.
But there will be some content on this channel from Disney from me. I'm going to make some content while I'm over there because Dismal Disney and all
Well,
that.
you have to, yeah.
And I'm going to film my honest first thoughts, reaction, and review of the Avengers Campus. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Anyway, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, me too.
I am. Yep. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.